Stay tuned, Gemini. You have a new perspective on people that have maybe taken advantage of you, lied to you, or betrayed with you in the past, and where you're going in the future, how you're going to be giving of your time and your energies. And it's a real growth stage that renews you into fresh life, a fresh new connection, and freed from holding on to that old energy that you had with those past relationships or betrayals. So it's really good energy. Stay tuned. I want to talk all about it with you. Okay. Alrighty then, we've got Gemini. How you doing, Gemini? I'm wondering how your cards are going to look. I'm sure you're wondering too. You've been on my mind for the last day, and it's like, Gemini's up next. Let's do Gemini. Had to stop for a second to do Sagittarius because they were like, hey, I'm waiting. But here we are, Gemini. So it's your turn. Let's get these cards going. Try not to do that too much on the desk because it makes too much noise. But I've already extensively shuffled these, and we'll get them laid out. I hope your September is going well. This is at the very end part of September, the last energies before we kick off October. So let's see what we've got going on here. We're going to do a double read, of course. That's what I like to do. You know, Geminis are interesting because, oh, no, I don't want to do that yet. Geminis are interesting because they can really be their own best friend. And they're lucky to have that. They can, you know, be their own worst enemy. But they truly can be self-sufficient in satisfying themselves with their own thoughts. Like there's some people that are real needy and they've got to have other people to validate them. A lot of times Gemini, even though Gemini might want attention, they know they're worth it because they can tell themselves they're worth it. Unlike a lot of other signs. So that's a positive attribute that Gemini has over other signs. Let me look at these for 10 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, Gemini, this is very interesting. The babies just woke up and they're wrestling with each other, but I don't think the microphone can pick up on all the noises that they're making. We'll just move forward. So here's what's really interesting about your reading. There is an overall theme here of, I don't know how that you've come across looking at this, but in the middle section, let me do the overhead here. In the middle section, we have energies of like weddings and then literally death. I mean, I know weddings are death till us part, but it's like the whole encompassing, like sometimes people view the getting married as one of, you know, and having children is one of the biggest things in your life, and then the whole living together and all the way through until death. I mean, there's like this long span of looking at all of it. Because this is something that you've done recently, is that you're really overseeing and looking like long term. And there's aspect of it where you are kind of able to see a broad span. I don't know how, but all of a sudden, you know, sometimes in life we have these moments where life becomes really short and we're able to see like a whole bunch of it all at once. And here's what's interesting is you're having kind of this higher perspective view on it where you're able to forgive some of the old pasts and betrayals and hurts and stuff that you've experienced before. I don't know how you're getting this higher view look over everything. I don't know if someone just died in your life, heavens forbid, or whether you've gone through marriages, but it's this combination of energy that has taken you into kind of a reflective state. It's almost like the Hangman card where you're really reflective, but it's of the whole scene. And one thing that you're reflective on and you're finding levels of getting past is when people have betrayed or lied to you or manipulated you and taken up like your attention, and you gave that to them, and sometimes, you know, that's like time lost and everything, but that's part of life and we're supposed to learn from that. The nice thing that I'm getting from this reading is you're kind of really going beyond it. It's not affecting you like it did in the past. Like when you went through those hurts, and it really hurt in the betrayals, as we all have, but you have this sort of matured, somehow you've matured. I don't know what just happened to you, that there's this kind of matured, overseeing view on things now. But there's like this new person coming forward, and you're able to see when they're having victory over the liars, victory over the power struggles that they have, or when they are trying to win at something and lying to you. Hi, champion. Oh, baby's under my feet. Hi, champion. Come on in. So I'm going to go over the top view since champion's in the way, which is fine. And so you have this really good attitude. There's like this growing up of some of your fantasies on life are no longer there. And that's also because your perspective has changed. So your perspective on the things that were once big fantasies, you're kind of more realistic on. It's not always fun within that journey of your destiny of kind of growing up and getting realistic on the things that you used to fantasize about. It's kind of just like, you know, a kid has a certain perspective of looking at things, and then when the adult gets older and looks at things far differently, and you go, oh, I get it now. And then you also realize that the children won't get it until they get older, and then they have these epiphanies. So I don't know why something's happened in your life within this life and death that has really made you think about a lot of this stuff. So coming into the future, you're going to be thinking, a lot of these cards up here are talking about you making decisions on who's going to be, it's kind of like wasting your time or not, who you're going to give to, okay? Whether it's going to be someone who really deserves to be given to, okay, in a scenario, and you're very clear on this, you're calm and clear on this, someone who deserves to be given to, or someone who's just trying to get stuff from you and taking your time. You know, pobrecito and playing the martyr and stuff. Also getting of who you want to do dealings with, who you want to have the give and take with, and not having things be unfair. And that's part of you, that, you know, you control that. I mean, in the past, you've had to deal with, contend with, as we all have, with betrayal and liars and people that are being selfish and doing things just for themselves and like using. You're tired of being used, but the nice thing I have to say congrats on is that you're not getting this negative energy towards it. You're seeing like an adult, and you've grown up and you can see people and things more clearly now, so that you're able to be, coming into the future here, better partnerships, clean partnerships, adult partnerships, that are in alignment with your destiny. They're not as much work, and you're going to have that. That's what's coming forward, but it's all because of this progression in you, and like I said, I don't know how you got there, but you've got there. And so the nice thing is that it also shows within here is that you're going to be approaching life. It's like you didn't become jaded, like you grew from this, and you're overseeing it at a much higher level. And so these new decisions, this Ace of Wands, these new choices that you're going to be making is coming from a refreshed new connection with the universe. The Fool card in the positive sense. You're no longer somebody's fool, but you're free-flowing like the Fool card with the universe. And you're working with the universe. And when you see someone or something that's like, yeah, no thanks. You know, that say when they say, bought the t-shirt, did it, done it, bought the t-shirt, and I wore it and then burnt it later because I'm done with that. It's more like now when people come up to you and they're like, hey, hi, you know, everything is a handshake deal with all of our relationships. Hey, can I do this to you? Sure, go ahead. You know, there's like people coming up being like, hey, can I use you again? Hey, can I lie to you? And you're like, yeah, no thanks, it's okay. And you're not coming to it angrily. You're like, already did that, learn from that, grew, know what you are, you know, move on, because you don't change snakes. They just move on to mess with somebody else. That's part of this life. But there's like no animosity in you. It's very interesting. It's very mature. And like I said, I don't know how I got there, but it's something that just happened to you recently between this theme of life and death. And you're coming forward with this new energy, new partnerships. It's part of your destiny. You lost some of your, you know, fantasies of the past when you were young, but you're coming into this new, fresh, full, hi Theodore, being with the universe, free-flowing. And we're going to stop at the moment and we'll come right back with the wrap-up. Before we do the wrap-up, I just want to quickly mention that there are 2 videos for each sign. You have your general, and then, baby, you have your love and relationships. You also look up your sun, moon, and rising. That's always interesting. If you'd like to book a reading, we have that available at www.ctgtarot.com. For goodwill and prosperity, there's always the support donate button on the website. We appreciate anything you offer. And then, of course, if you want to subscribe, oh, come on, baby. No, you be nice. Be nice, baby. If you want to subscribe, don't lose track of us. Thumbs up, comments, we appreciate it all. Thanks again. Happy watching, and we'll be back to the wrap-up now. Okay, Gemini, so Theodore really wants to come in and lay across the cards, but I'm trying to keep him at bay just for the moment so we can do this wrap-up. The nice thing is you could have something a little bit similar. It's a different type, but it's similar to Taurus that had this theme of kind of a growing up theme. This is a maturity factor that you've reached, and your theme happens to deal with people taking advantage of you, quite frankly. And we're all tested with that. And who you want to give your attention to. And you're not so much worried about it. You've got a really fresh outlook. You're going to have new partnerships, and it's part of your destiny. You're right on track with where you're going. And, you know, it came forward through with this theme of, okay, babies, here go the kitties. With this kind of like life and death theme, this overview and seeing life is too short. Life is too short to even be bothered by the betrayals of the past. It doesn't make a difference anymore. What makes a difference is now. And you've got a really fresh perspective, and you're going into the Fool energy so you can have new actions and be not a fool to somebody else, but you be your own free-flowing fool with the universe, working in conjunction with the universe and free-flowing that way, which is the positive way to be, and not letting this stuff bother you. Like, yay, because that is the best energy. Because then when anybody comes forward and they're offering you something that is not honest and selfish and all that sort of stuff that we are doing here, all, you know, many lessons that we have, it's not really going to affect you. It's sometimes when we reach new levels of maturity, that's what we gain. We lose a little bit, like it says, you lose a little bit of your innocence. You know, I was saying the fantasy early, but you lose a little bit of your innocence, and once innocence is kind of gone, it's gone. It doesn't quite come back. But it's a whole new chapter. So that's where you're at, and that's a really good place to be. So I look forward to seeing your new partnerships and your new ventures forward with the new types of people. Some of your friends and stuff might fall away because once you start seeing liars, you can't put up with certain types of stuff, and it just naturally happens. You'll see that. You'll see people falling when deaths of types of relationships falling off, a natural progression. And then unions and marriages into new relationships. that are meant to be, and going into your next chapters, and your new way of being, and the new really quite identity and person that you're becoming and have become. So that's really fantastic, and I wish you well with that. And we will talk to you in the next reading. Go ahead and also look at not only your sun, but your moon and your rising or ascending, as they call it sometimes, sign. That gives you lots of good insight. All right. Talk to you soon. Mush mush.